Night Vision. Following clues left by our ancestors, we unbury the past to reveal a knowledge of unfathomable value, putting us just a little closer to our own true birthrights. From the secret history of a possible bloodline of Jesus Christ, the secret history of America's founders, to the secret history of extraterrestrial interaction on our planet, here to bring light to the night. Your host for Night Vision Radio, Renee Barnett.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Night Vision, coming to you tonight from the beautiful Southwest France, where I am doing some research and a little work and a little fun and visiting with friends. I wish you could all be here to see how wonderful it is and how beautiful. We had such a wonderful, warm day today. I hope you all had a great day as well. And I'm not going to waste too much time here because we've got a lot to talk about. I'm excited about my guest tonight. She is a chiropractor and an energy healer. And I think I know which one probably is higher in her mind of importance, and one led to the other or vice versa. So we'll find out all that right now as we welcome Dr. Kerri Grant. Hi, Kerri.
Hi, Renee. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Great. Good to be here.
So, actually, I should have mentioned, you'll actually be over here with me soon.
I will. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you guys to get here, and so we can all spend some time together. And, a lot of my audience knows our new Gloria Amendola, who is my really close friend and Kerri's as well. And so this year, Easter Sunday, marks the 3rd anniversary of her transition. So we decided, a group of us, to come down and honor her and have a little memorial and spend some time in probably her favorite place on earth, I would guess. Mm-hmm. And so we're all looking forward to getting together and having huge hug fest and wonderful ceremony, and also a little research and looking around at some of the historical sites of the many, many places that we can cover in 1 week's time, which, I've been coming here now for 20 years. And I still, every time I come, there's some amazing place that I have not yet been that's just within a half hour, 45 minutes of here. It's unbelievable. We live in the United States, so everything is brand new. There, historically, we live in a house that's 100 years old. We think we've got an old house. Well, the house I'm sitting in right now was built in 1100. So we don't know old in the United States. It's so interesting to be, in a place where people were so long ago, and walking along the stones and streets, where people have been going for millennia almost, and actually millennia. And so it's really wonderful to be here. But we're not here to talk about France tonight, or certainly not directly. But Dr. Kerri, you are a chiropractor by profession. Mm-hmm. And can you just tell us a little bit about your background and sort of what led you into what you are now doing?
Oh, sure. It started off as a little girl. My parents brought us into Eastern philosophies and TM meditation, and I learned a technique for children back then. And that kind of carried on into other spiritual work as I was older and understood a little bit more about it. And I ended up taking a Reiki course later on, and that was before any of the chiropractic happened. And then I decided that I would utilize that for a little while until I got into a major accident. It was a car accident that left me basically unable to get up out of bed. Took me, I think, a half hour to get from my stomach to standing position. And at that point, I didn't know what to do. So I called my brother, who said, get in to see a chiropractor right now. So I did. And that was amazing. It just took a few short weeks and I was able to get back up and running again. And so that was pretty phenomenal. And I have another little story to go along with that. My daughter, who was 11 months old at the time, she was born with a blocked tear duct. I didn't know that at the time. I just knew she had a weepy eye, and I thought maybe it would go away. Well, it didn't. And one day my mother called me and said, I made an appointment at the eye doctor for the baby. And I was like, okay. And so I called the eye doctor. I said, what are you going to do? And they said, well, she has a blocked tear duct. We want to put her under major anesthesia and put a wire in her eye. And I thought, oh, I don't think so. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to try the chiropractor. So we did. And he just did some gentle, it's not the same with a baby as it is with an adult. There's no cracking or anything. Babies' bones are loose and so forth.
Right.
So he just held his finger like this behind her ear. And I thought, is he really doing anything? Nothing's happening. But the next day when we woke up, my little 11-month-old came to me and her eye looked like it was swelling from the outside in. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's happening? I called the chiropractor, a little bit panicked, of course. And he said, Kerri, it's releasing the blockage. I thought, you're kidding me. And he said, well, you're coming in today, so bring the baby in. And after about 20 minutes of talking to him, her eye was completely back to normal again. So it was amazing. It was something very new for me because my parents came from a medical background. My mom was a nurse and my dad studied to be a doctor. And so it was, I guess, something very new for all of us. But so, yeah, I guess that was sort of my start getting into chiropractic.
Yeah. Who would have thought that chiropractics could fix your eye?
Right. And especially something that just seemed like not a big deal, right? Babies just, their eyes water all the time, but hers really was, having an issue and it wasn't going away. So, yeah, I thought I'm going to go to chiropractic school, I suppose, after this. And if I just my family, that'll be great. Kind of a weird, lofty idea. And of course, it needs to be shared with everybody. So that's how that part started. And then the integration of both. The Reiki healing became more of an intuitive healing that came down to the, how my hands feel on a body. And using that Reiki energy to really find out where things are moving or blocked, using the chakra system and the energies in line with the spine. It's a really nice marriage between the two. And it's just something that I'm developed over time and continue to develop.
Oh, that is so interesting. I mean, I would imagine if you could apply some of those techniques with the chiropractics and everything to something like a blocked tear duct, there would be a million other things that could be worked on through that type of manipulation of the body and of energy.
So true, actually, because when you're clearing the spine, meaning you're getting your chiropractic, you're getting the adjustment, it's putting you back in alignment. Everything's attached from your brain to your spinal cord, going right through the spinal column. And adjusting that and clearing that creates all of the energy, your nerves, your nervous system is like an energy field, right? They're all wired. So you're getting sparks of little electric currents that are wiring, going up to the brain, giving that messages, to the brain and then back to the body and telling it you're in alignment, you're not in alignment. And that's creating dis-ease in the body or ease in the body to be able to heal. Because our body has the innate ability to heal, right? We don't tell our heart to pump. We don't tell our lungs to do what they need to do. We just assume we're getting up every day and they're going to work. And that's what our body can do in a healing sense. It's just that we haven't really been taught that. We've been taught a pill or an outside remedy is going to be, the thing that helps us get through whatever it is. And sometimes it makes it worse than having a natural healing energy like chiropractic.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So let me ask you this. Okay, let's say you don't know me and I come to see you. How do you know what I need?
Yeah, that's a
Can
good
you
question.
tell, or do you rely on me to tell you, symptoms or something, or do you kind of energetically sense someone's needs?
Both. I'm going to really follow through a typical exam like you would in a chiropractic office, medical history and background, because the medical history is going to tell me the things that run in your family. So what are the things that are, your heart is people's families, prone to cancer or those things. And I look at the body and I see those things as things that are happening in the body, but where's the disruption pattern coming from? Probably from a feeling, an emotion, thoughts that we tell ourselves. For instance, I had a childhood friend who lost her mother when we were both 7 years old, and that affected her greatly. And her sister, around the age of 38, which is when their mother passed, also had a diagnosis. And so my friend called me and she was just in hysterics. She said, what's going to happen? Is my sister going to pass just like my mother passed? And that's where the intuitive places come in for me. And I could feel that she was going to be okay. I don't know how. I just trusted that she was going to be all right. And I said, they have a lot of things that they didn't have back in the 70s. She's going to be fine. So, basically she was okay. Her sister had the right mindset, and she also, knew that if she proceeded, that she had to change internally what she was thinking. So she's well into her 50s now, happy, healthy, and it was all because she changed the pattern that was in the family energetically within herself. So healing always starts within, and then it works in the external body. And that's the same thing with your thoughts. If they're a low vibrational energy, or just a negative piece, or not feeling like you can get through that, that's also going to express in the body. So we actually have a lot of power and control over our health if we just use that kind of thinking.
I believe that. I've always had that sense that as long as I feel I'm going to be all right, I will.
Yes.
But if I start slipping, then I might cause myself some trouble. So I try to, stay on that positive note. But do you think that this is moving toward the way that medicine will be practiced more in the future? I know that we hear a lot about some kind of an evolution going on, an ascension. In fact, we have a new show on KGRA called Human Ascension with Ellie that just directly precedes this show. And she's been exploring all those ideas, and there seems to be a lot of messages coming from different directions, and a sense that as bad as things feel all around us, all the chaos and division and all that it's sort of like the darkest hour before the dawn or something, that we are getting ready and we are moving forward. We are ascending to some sort of higher level. Do you feel that's true? And
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. I think as a collective consciousness, we're finally catching up to that. And I really believe that it started back in the 70s and, and before then, when I started, meditation as a little girl. We just thought it was all kind of kooky. And some of it was very, very different for that time, but some of it was very progressive. And we're kind of catching up to that now. And knowing that the body really does have these amazing powers, and your thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts create. And so that also creates whatever is happening physically in the body. And to go back to one of your first question, part of the after the exam, a physical exam with a chiropractic exam, that's when I'll go and scan the body for the chakras. That's going to tell me what's moving, what's not. When we get to certain places, such as like the heart, the chest, if somebody has a chronic issue there, or they have lung issues or heart issues, you want to go in and find out what they're dealing with in present moment, and maybe what they dealt with in a child. Some of those traumas may be stored up in the body there. And so we think of it as, oh, that's just, a physical ailment, when really it's coming from an emotional expression physically in the body.
Like you mentioned, losing someone, and is there a particular chakra center or area of the body that is generally affected by grief? Is that like just, or can that go into different areas of the body? Or is it like your heart chakra? I mean, it seems like it would be, but that's just me. I have no expertise in that, but it just makes sense to me that it would be something of the heart. But are there like different circumstances that affect different areas of the body, I guess is what I'm asking.
Most definitely. Most of the time you'll see emotions showing up in the chest or in the back. I have pain in between my shoulders. You can have it in your belly, your power center. It's your third chakra is going to tell you whether you feel strong, you feel confident. I don't really want to deal with life. I want to go hide out and sneak away somewhere. But then those bring on deeper questions. And sometimes it can get a little bit to the paranormal, because there are people who might show up, relatives might show up while I'm working with somebody, not all the time, but people who have passed, friends. And sometimes I'll just get an idea of a message that I need to give to somebody. And I don't know what that message is about. It doesn't relate to me. But when I hear it enough, maybe 3 or 4 times, I might, ask that person, what does this mean to you? And they tell me how that connects to them. And then we figure out, oh, it's connecting to whatever area in their body that they're expressing some kind of pain or disease or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they're able to take that thought pattern, change it, and then they can start working on the healing piece. So It's an incredible integration when it all comes together like that. I just love it.
Yeah. It just feels, intuitively or instinctively right that our thoughts can affect the way that we feel and the energy that we put out toward other people too.
Yes.
I would think that, we all know people that, they walk in the room, they're very down, very negative, and it's like they kind of suck the energy out of the room. But by the same token, we know people that come in and they're like a burst of sunshine, and everybody feels better because they walked in and are smiling and happy, and everybody feels it. And I think if there's one thing that human beings could learn that would help all of us in every facet of living, is to realize how much power our thoughts have.
Yes, definitely.
And we can control those. We can form new patterns of thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if someone is really ingrained in, worry, negativity, sort of doom and gloom, and that sort of thing. How does one begin to change that type of thinking?
Mm. Usually they come in for typical chiropractic adjustments. We're not at a place, or they're not at a place where they've experienced enough healing or have even had an interest in it. They don't know what it is. It's hokey. What do I do with this? So we will just do regular chiropractic adjustments, because that is where the magic starts. Clearing the nervous system, clearing the body brings a sense of peace. And once they have that sense of peace, which, by the way, they're not able to get on their own, because if they could, they wouldn't have come into the office that way. When they
Right.
feel that, it's like almost like for the first time, they're saying, I can breathe, I feel relaxed. And they might have been on the table maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and they feel like they had a whole night's sleep. So they first have to experience what peace feels like in the body. So much chaos in the world, phones going off, the electrical, currents in the air. It's chaotic. So we don't know what peace feels like in the body. So basically going to peace and clearing the nervous system is the first place to go. And then usually they'll come in after a certain amount of time, very shortly, maybe a week or two, and they'll say, my life is getting better at home. I'm having fun with the kids. Work isn't as crazy. Like, it's weird, but it all happened since I came in to see you. Why? And now we've got a little bit of an open door to start talking about, have you heard about Reiki or energy work? And most people have heard at least a little bit now, where they might know the word, but not what it is. And then we start the discussion that way. And if people feel that kind of success and that kind of peace and in their body, and pain is going away, they feel like it's magic. And sometimes they feel like I'm doing it, and I'm like, nope, just you're actually opening your mind, your body, to be able to access this energy and this healing. Good work. It's your work. So when they feel that sense of accomplishment, then they know that they can start doing this on their own.
Yeah. And since we're talking about energy, and I mean, there is the physical aspect of the, hands-on chiropractics, but also just the energy part. Like, for instance, when you were talking about your friend with her sister and her mother passing, and then worrying about her sister, and you said, sister's going to be okay. I really feel she's going to be okay. Did you have to see that sister, or did you just know that?
I just felt it. It's like something injects it into my field of knowing. It can happen by hearing. I might hear something say she's going to be okay. I might just feel it like a whole kinesthetic thing over my body. And I just listen and I trust. It took a long time, and still sometimes I'm like, is that true? Is that really happening? And verify it with who I'm working with, or they verify it for me. And it's an incredible experience, because again, it feels sort of surreal to people who are not quite used to it. Then they have a whole new life, looks a little bit different. Healing looks a little bit different. And then we have some people who are very much on the spiritual path, and they understand enough to be doing the right things for their body, getting enough sleep, exercise, whatever, adjustments, massages, acupuncture, whatever is working for them. So they're physically in a good place, and they come in and they want to go deep. They want to go into a space of just healing, so we don't have to do a lot of adjusting. It's kind of like a different level takes over. And so that can also be something.
And obviously, you have an office and you have people coming in, but are you able to do any work remotely?
Something new for me, but yes, I feel like that is a next step for me. Just working with a good friend of ours now, I can actually really visualize the body. the energetic body and help clear and see vibrant. I work with white light energy, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's connecting with Christ consciousness, and it's a beautiful, vibrant white light that's healing, that comes down in through the crown chakra, and then it clears out through the spine and down the feet, and it anchors into the ground. And then I can visualize the chakras and the different colors and see what's spinning correctly, what's not, what's going in the reverse direction, and then clearing from there. So yeah, I feel like that's going to be a next step for me, and I'm really, really excited for it. I've been waiting for the go from spirit to do it. So
Right.
here it is.
Well, you just mentioned something. You said spinning, things are spinning correctly. So funny, because I just heard someone talking about the chakras and saying, most people sort of visualize them as spinning. What is that? Is that just like humming along with the right energy, or that spinning?
I'm sure people feel different things. It's like a signature. I know how I feel it is heat will tell me that something is moving. Something feels, like if it's hot heat, it's moving very, very fast and accelerated. And if I'm in, like, say, the third chakra, we'll go back to that again, because that's a power center, but it's also where we have babies. It's also where we have, things associated with our childhood, with our mothers. And I've been in some of those areas with women and noticed that I can't feel anything, and it feels dark, and it doesn't feel like anything's moving. So it's a sensitive subject to bring up. And so I will say to them, here I'm kind of feeling like it's not really moving. The energy's not moving. So that might connect to you somehow. And usually they'll tell me, something significant, like,
and yeah,
I can't have children. Whatever it was, my mother and I, we've had a terrible relationship, and yet they're having all kinds of gastro issues or something. And so that's the physical piece that comes up. But the deeper layer is that they have those emotional tape recordings running in the background.
Yeah. So how would you, obviously everyone can't get over to your office. And how would you tell people to sort of just begin to change their way of thinking, or to at least direct it, in the right way? What do we do? Meditate? Can it be a number of things? How do you get to those places that you need to be to make change?
That's a good question, because I think most people struggle with that. So I would say trust. If your trust is very religious and you trust in God, you trust in angels, you trust in whatever, go that route. It's okay. It's if you are say, well, I stay away from organized religion, so I'm more of a, granola crunchy yoga person, go in that direction. So I feel that it's all essential. It's all necessary. Forget the labels. We're all going in the same direction, looking for the same outcome, and we can do it. I think we get caught up on, words and ideas, and then we do have this tunnel vision, and then we block that energy from actually coming in. But so if you can go to that place first and start to open up, that's a good place to start. And once you are able to trust that space, then you can start trusting the work that we do together. Meaning, if that's a pathway someone chooses to do to work with me, it's the possibilities are just endless after that.
Yes. Sorry, I keep hearing my phone ding, and I forgot to turn the thing on. Rookie mistake. I do that. I not the first time that's happened. But anyhow, so what do you sense, or do you have any ideas about what all the division is about? I mean, particularly, in the United States, people are not together. People are choosing sides and, hating and, being negative toward each other. What is going on? You have.
Yeah, we've got some heavy hitters, don't we? We have politics.
Yeah.
Politics is, they're using religion, and everybody is feeling like their way is the right way, and they're kind of unconsciously bashing each other. And I kind of feel like it's part of what we need to go through, because in order for something to build, it has to break down. And we're kind of not even, we're working to the breakdown space, but we're not quite there. So in a way, it's essential. It's not comfortable, but that's the part of ascension you were talking about that we're coming to, because you can't stay as a volcano. It just starts to rumble, right? And that's where we are,
Right.
that rumbling. But what happens when it finally bursts, there's this release, and there's this peace from all of that tension. And then we can start to rebuild in the right way, where we're supporting each other and caring about each other. But it's a little rough right now.
I mean, I'm wondering, people are just naturally, or at least they seem to be, resistant to change. And if you're comfortable, there's no real impetus to change. It's like, okay, I can cruise along here. It may not be the best, but it's not that bad. And, but it doesn't really induce us to, strive. But if things get uncomfortable, then we say, okay, we got to do something about this. I can't stand this discomfort, for much longer. So you start looking at what needs to be done and how you can be a part of positive change and all that. So I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on, that we're being made uncomfortable in order to sort of give us a little kick in the pants up to the next level.
Is that not the truth? It is so true. Yeah. What is it they say about a diamond, right? It has to go through all that pressure before it comes out,
Right.
the way that it is. So we're doing the same thing.
Yep. And we keep screwing up. So we get, sort of slapped back, like, no, that's not it. Yes. Until we start to say, okay, we got to do something about this. Yeah. But so in terms of like tonight, what would you tell people who are going through a lot of emotional turmoil and maybe depression and stress? What are just some key things that they could focus on in order to sort of change those patterns?
It's a good question, because it's a hard one when we have those things that we've dealt with since we've been young. I think that's where we have to look. Meditation, definitely, or yoga, some kind of, technique that helps us stop, look within, and kind of just do our own scan of ourselves. Why am I feeling this way? How are my relationships with my parents and so forth? Some of that needs to be done, or could be done, with a professional. I think, especially if it's deep like that, that's something that, pathway someone should definitely go. And then once they're able to have some guidance and feeling like they can do it on their own, then that'll become more of a natural pathway.
Yeah. So I guess, there's probably more than one doorway.
Yes. Yeah.
And so your doorway might be through prayer. And my doorway might be through meditation. Another person's doorway might be through just sitting in the mountains, and sitting in the sun and contemplating. But am I getting that right? Is it there are many ways to sort of get to that place of peace where you can actually start making positive change. Is that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is a very layered answer, actually, because it depends on where you are internally. So, going to like a sort of a deeper level, we all think that we're just in this one reality. We wake up, we have breakfast, we go to work, we come home, blah, blah, blah. But when you study a little bit further, some of the greats out there, they'll say that we have more than one reality going on. So that gets into something that some people are ready for and some people aren't. But when you are, you realize you can manifest in different states. In your dream state is like your meditation state or your yoga state or whatever it is. And then that brings it back into where we are in this reality. So yeah, I would say that it just depends on, where your knowledge is, and you can manifest.
Maybe where your comfort level is too.
Yes.
It's like you're more comfortable, going through prayer.
Go to church. Go to where you find those things.
Yeah, do what you need to do in that area. And but it's good to know that it's there for everyone, not just Christians, not just Jewish people, not just agnostics or not just atheists, not just Hindus, but
it's available for everybody. Absolutely.
And the only thing that could be real in my book is if it's available to every single soul.
Yeah.
That's how it feels genuine to me. Of course, I'm no expert. I'm just
no, same here. I would too. I mean, if it's something that is exclusive to one or two groups and you're not including everybody, then I would say you're missing a lot of mankind and humankind and humanity. We need to really come together in a humanitarian type of way to rise above what we're going through now.
And I tell you one thing I've noticed, which is really exciting to me, is it almost seems like since the beginning of this year, I've noticed sort of a sea change going on. Like things are starting to move and happen. And I mean, even like the trip that we're doing, it just happened. It just sort of all started coming together. And I said from the very beginning, whoever is supposed to be there will be there. And if it's not the right time for someone, they probably won't make it, So it's like I'm feeling like there's something closer to the surface than it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of movement, and I can't really explain it, but it's just I feel it and I see it in other things, and I see a bigger spirit of cooperation and support. I mean, among all this craziness and divisiveness and all that other stuff that's going on, I see something rising up and collaboration. And it's, so many things have come up just in my life recently, different projects, different situations and things. And they've all just sort of come up naturally and in a very collaborative way, and in a way that feels like, I'm being supported. And at the same time, I'm given the privilege of being able to support other people, as they are supporting me. We're supporting each other. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a little bit different, and that it really is something that's sort of, how they say, oh, this is going to be a good year, or this is, this isn't going to be a good year. I really felt that this year was going to be a really good year, that things were going to pop. And it seemed like last year, there was a lot of things going on in terms of ideas and projects that, I wanted to do and other people wanted to do, but just not movement. It just wasn't moving. It just wasn't taking off. And then suddenly everything started moving. Everything. and you can feel it when there's a flow going on.
Yeah.
And it just feels like we're kind of moving into a flow. I don't know if that's just my perception, or I'm hoping it's for everyone, and that is the case.
I think everyone who's clued into the fact that we're doing something different on the planet, and it started when we were all in lockdown. We all had to figure out who we were, even if we lived with people and married to people, and who are we, and the Great Reset, and all of these things going on. So there's the collective consciousness is more inclined to know those things now. So now we are operating on a bigger level energetically. So we may not quite believe it, but we believe it enough. So when those things happen, we go, oh, that manifested like the next day. That happened to me when I was looking for a public speaking class about 4 weeks ago. I was walking the dog and I said, hey, Spirit, I'm ready to do some more, public speaking, and I want you to bring me the right person. And literally the next day I went into Facebook, and there was somebody I hadn't, seen in a while, hadn't talked to. And he was like, hey, I'm giving these courses on public speaking. So the manifesting was that quick. That's just a little example.
And here you are here tonight.
And here I am tonight. And yeah, I love it. Exactly. And this is the pathway Spirit wants me to take. So when Spirit says to me, go, and my ego wants to be in fear and say, I don't want to do that, I'm saying yes, because I know that Spirit has my back.
Yeah.
and it does. Yeah.
Yep. You're going with the flow,
Yes. Yeah.
It's like suddenly something shifts, and it's like free open highway,
Yeah.
no
definitely.
blocks, just you're free to just soar,
Mm-hmm.
want to. Now, you mentioned a little while ago, you said something about talking about the greats. So who are some of the people that you have read or followed and studied that other people might benefit from?
Oh, definitely Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and Wayne Dyer's work, Dolores Cannon's work. She was fabulous. She never touted herself as anybody, but I'm just doing research. But she was quite progressive. You look at her and you'd think, what does she know? She's sort of a little Grammy sitting in the chair, and she was brilliantly connected. So some of her work, those are some of the ones coming up.
I love Wayne Dyer. I mean, he just I just clicked in so much with everything he said, and he had such a great way of being in the world. Now, Dolores Cannon, I know a lot of people, a lot of friends, that I've come across in the last, 10, 20 years have done a lot of research and studying of Dolores Cannon's work. But I haven't really gotten into it that much, but I've been noticing lately that when I'm online and on YouTube, I keep getting these Dolores Cannon videos popping up. And I'm thinking, okay.
Hello, Renee. Yeah.
What does she represent to you? What is she, how has she helped you, or her work? And what is she really all about? Because I don't really know.
Well, she was a therapist. She was doing past life regressions with people. And she was finding correlations in the stories of the clients. And she thought, there might be, something here to look at. So she was recording all of those things. And she was finding that people were not just from this lifetime, but past lives, and maybe current present lives that they're having on different realities are all at play in this one 3D world. And what fascinates me about her work is she says Earth is a big school. So we come here and we think we're just having, like you said, the mundane experience, but really we're choosing all of the actors. We are the screenwriter, we're the producer, the person you can't stand. You probably have a soul connection with them that said, when you're down there, could you come and nudge me a little bit? Like you said, right? We can't grow if we don't feel like we have some reason to grow. We'd be too comfortable. So we create all of those players, and it's like having a stage. They come on, it's dress rehearsal, they come in and do their thing and they leave. Well, the power of that is, so that person that you may have issues with, you can change that story by changing the way that you see them, the way that they approach you in your mind's eye, your meditation, your prayer. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is a great relationship. What happened? Or we like each other. So that there's power there. And if there's power in that, there's power in healing and everything. And so that's what she goes to those levels, those depths through her work. And she never said she was in, what's that?
I'm going to have to check her out. I mean, I'm sort of Johnny come lately here, but I better late than never, I guess.
Anytime you're ready. That's right. Then, the information starts to appear like on your screen. Watch me.
Popping right up into my reality.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I get the message. I will check it out. But that's really interesting. And I love what you said about, she wasn't all in her ego, that she just did what she did.
She did. She said, don't call me a psychic. Don't call me an intuitive. I'm not that. I'm just doing research. And that was really valuable for her to do that.
I think that's great. I really do. I think one of our main problems on this plane is ego, getting out of our own way, and it can go either way, either, too insecure, too fearful to go out because you might embarrass yourself, if you really go do what you want to do, or you're doing what you want to do, and then you start thinking that you're sort of all that, and that, I mean, I've actually caught myself, it was really funny because one time right after I did a film, was invited to this venue to speak to this crowd of about 1,500 people with my producing partner. And I was literally told and promised before we went, which I thought was really weird, that we would get a standing ovation. And I thought, well, how do they know that? Well, it was because they told everybody, to give us a standing ovation, because it was kind of a culty place. But anyway, even though I knew that we were going to get a standing ovation, and the only way they could have known that was if they had told their people, be sure and give them a standing ovation at the end. When it happened, I still found myself sort of like thinking, oh, this is for me. I'm, entitled to this. I love this. And I actually caught myself on the stage doing this. And then I said, what the hell are you doing? This is not even real. And yet you are just sucking it up like you're just really something special. And I mean, I laughed at myself, that. And I was telling a friend of mine who later went and spoke at the same place, the same group of people. And I said, oh, did you go up and speak? And he said, yeah. And I said, did you get your standing ovation? He said, yep. I said, felt good, didn't it? And he just laughed. And I said, oh, man, I totally fell for it, not for long, but for a few seconds. I was like, I am the queen of the universe up here, on this stage, and they're all admiring me. Well, no, they're not. They had been, and even if they were, it wouldn't have been appropriate for me to, feel that way. But it was a great lesson to let me know that it's something we have to watch. We have to watch slipping into our ego, because it's really not our friend. you know.
Yeah, I mean, we grow up wearing these masks because our parents had limited understanding of what we know now of those childhood traumas. Their parents didn't know anything, so they didn't really know how to raise children with emotions and appropriately. So we have a lot of codependency, a lot of enmeshment. You know, our families are just there for us, and we realize that sometimes our families are not. They're at their own places of learning and healing, and we've got to search out on our own. We can still love and be with them, but we don't have to say, oh, you know, begrudgingly, I have to show up at whatever holiday or this or that, because a lot of that's just force and it's not authentic and it's not real. And that's, again, a part of the ascension process, that we're learning more authenticity and how to be authentic beings. And so we can take off those masks and deal with ego a little bit better.
You know, it's interesting that you said, you know, it kind of started in the 70s. And, you know, I remember that song that was popular in the 70s. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Age of Aquarius, I remember it.
And now we actually are entering the age of Aquarius.
We are.
So do you think that that is a thing? Is that something? Is that really part of, you know, this ascension process or this evolution that we're going through?
I do, at least in my consciousness, and I can see where we would kind of naturally progress to being years out. I mean, even Dolores Cannon said it. She said, you know, and it started even before the 70s, but I'd say we saw those big movements, Maharishi, Osho,
Right. And it was the love and the flower children. And we really, you know, and I was, you know, around at that time, and it really was a feeling of togetherness, and, you know, that we were trying to foster, and that, you know, there was a lack of sort of racial prejudice and things. You know, everyone was welcome, and it was all good, and we all fed each other, and, you know, did whatever. And I think we had the right idea, probably didn't need all the drugs.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've kind of grown, at least matured enough through that. But it was the start, right? We can go back to that, and everything is historical. We go back to it, repeats itself. Yeah. And so we can say, okay, Mimi, some of it was kind of crazy and out there, but we're taking that premise to a higher level now, and we're using it to grow as a collective consciousness on the planet. So it's beautiful.
Wow. Well, we're getting fairly close to the end of the show. A little more, we've got a little under 4 minutes, but I wanted to give you the opportunity, if there's anything in particular that we haven't covered that you wanted to mention or talk about, or also, are you seeing people, or are people able to contact you? Are you open to that?
I'm actually establishing a little bit more openness to, you know, getting the online things going, to doing whatever it is for people to contact me so that they don't have to come to my office. So that'll be happening. That's a new place for me, but that'll be happening soon.
Oh, good. Well, keep us posted, and we'll make sure we get it out there.
Great.
You know, we'll put it on the screen and on the website, how people can reach you. And you know, I'm really excited about change, you know, coming, and hoping that it is what it feels like, and that we are moving to a better place, and we can sort of start caring and supporting each other rather than throwing barbs and bullets.
Absolutely. And I just want to add a plug for our little France trip, because I'm so excited to be in those heightened energies and with the waters of Alet, and wait till we do some adjusting where we clear the nervous system and we're in that energy, and ingesting that water and putting our feet into it. It's just going to be amazing. I can't wait.
It is. Yeah. You know, what people may or may not know is there's something about the telluric energy here. It's very, very high.
Yeah.
And with all the sort of Rennes-le-Chateau mystery and the Da Vinci Code and all that coming into play in this area, in buried treasures and all that. I remember a long time ago, the old mayor of Rennes-le-Chateau said, the real treasure of Rennes-le-Chateau is not jewels and gold treasure. It's the energy. It's the telluric energy. And I thought, wow, you know what?
Yeah.
I think he's right about that. And it's amazing. I mean, it's measurable if you've got your little EMF meters and things like that. But you don't really need that to feel it. But certainly, if you have that, it's confirmation that it's just unbelievable. And there's so many places around, and the waters. You're right, waters in Rennes-le-Ban. People, which is a nearby village where people have been royalty. A lot of royalty have gone over the centuries for healing and into the hot springs. And there are hot springs all around this area. And they're actually, I have a list somewhere. I'm sure I can find it again online, but it's of the different springs. And like for this spring, you go there for if you're having kidney problems. For this spring, it's the heart. And really interesting. But the water in Rennes-le-Ban, there's, of course, the old Roman baths that are still operational where you can go in and go into the hot water. Or you can just go down the riverbank and walk into the river and go that way. And I know that on the first trip that Gloria and I made together over here, we brought a group of people. And one woman that was on our tour was coming back. She had been here before, and she was celebrating her healing from breast cancer. And she attributed that healing to the water at Rennes-le-Ban. And we used to stay at this lovely little hotel, Maison Christina, in Rennes-le-Ban. And I know when Christina was married, her husband was diabetic. And he told me that on the days that he went into the water, he didn't have to take his insulin, that his sugar normalized. So, I mean, that's two people that I know that, are normal and nice people who have claimed to have, some sort of healing in that one location. And then, of course, there are all these other springs here. So it's really amazing. Now, I don't know how they sort of figured out where to go to get the healing on the right part of your body. But at least in Rennes-le-Ban, it seems like she was ill from breast cancer. He was, his blood sugar was affected. So, only a number of things going on there. But yeah, that is amazing. This is a very healing place.
It is. And when COVID first started, I basically took myself etherically there. I ended up in Rennes-le-Ban, and I thought, what am I here for? And I'm like, oh yeah, the healing waters actually in Alette. And I thought, but I'm here in the US. And I remember Spirit just saying, you can be anywhere because energy travels everywhere. So there you go.
Wow.
Set your mind to it, and you can be wherever you need to be.
That's a good note to end on, because we've actually gone 2 minutes over now. And good thing I'm at the end of the day, and I'm not impinging on anyone else's time that would follow me. So
Great.
Well, Dr. Kerri Grant, thank you so much for coming on with me. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Looking forward to seeing you soon and getting some of that energy going.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Renee. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, and good night, everyone, and take care.